In my very first call with her, I said, "Well, why haven't you asked for a raise?" And dead silence. And she said, "I just wouldn't know the words. I wouldn't know what to say. I don't have confidence."
We both know what it takes to climb the ladder, to show our worth, to articulate our value, to be great communicators, to influence others at the board level, with our teams, at the frontline level. There is so much experience that we bring to the table. We're not guessing that something that we coach one of our clients on is going to work. We're not, oh boy, I hope that works. I don't know. Let me read the manual of coaching to see if that's something that we should tell her. We are coming from legitimate, absolute decades and decades of experience. So the mistakes or the trials and tribulations that we've had to bring the successes that we've had, our clients get the benefit of compressing time. And you'll win in life by having your soul on fire. Welcome to the Soul Powered Revolution, the essential podcast for high achieving professional women who are done playing small. I'm Coach Mo, ex-CEO, ex-COO, and creator of the Soul Powered Method that has transformed over 2,200 executive women's careers. Each week, we decode the strategies that actually work for women at the leadership level while keeping your soul intact. Because true power isn't about working harder. It's about leading from your soul. If you're ready to stop dimming your light and claim the success you deserve, you're in the right place. New episodes drop weekly. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join the revolution of women leading from their soul power. Let's dive in. Hey, folks, this is Coach Mo Faul, Soul Powered Revolution podcast. And I have on with me Stacey Citrin, our amazing ex-CEO, executive leadership, all-around badass coach. Hi, Stacey.
Hey, Mo, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually really jazzed up because we've had quite an exciting week as coaches and watching our clients bloom. And I wanted to just talk to you about what you have been experiencing with your clients. And before we dive into that, though, I do want to say, folks, listen in, because we've got some really, really interesting stories of clients who are making amazing things happen in their lives because they, first of all, chose to get the expert help in our solution that we have, which starts with the soul. And also, you're going to hear some things from us that you probably don't even know exist in the world. So leaning into this podcast today will help you create what could be for you a new normal of what is possible as a professional woman. If you're not a professional woman, but you love a professional woman, you might also be interested in this podcast because there could be things that you hear from us that the professional woman or women in your life are struggling with. Because as professional women, we all struggle with certain elements of putting ourselves out there, of not accepting less and rising up. It's a lot easier when you're raised like most men and boys to do that. And a lot of us girls just aren't raised in that types of ways. And I've learned a lot along my career. So did Coach Stacey. And so, Stacey, welcome again. Let's dive into what we have seen this week. I'll let you take over because I know you have guided a few women into just amazing, amazing results. Before you get into the result, though, could you describe these clients on how you saw them first on the welcome call, which of course is our onboarding call, when they start our 12-week Soul Power Career Coaching? These women were not where they are today. So tell us the trajectory of these women.
Yeah, so we had some fantastic results, in particular with two women this week. And one of them, when she first joined, she had been with her company 22 years, long time. She has been feeling undervalued probably 15 of those years. But she knew the job, she could do it with her eyes closed. And frankly, her confidence has been rocked. and her inner psyche has been rocked, and she was second guessing herself.
Yeah.
She finally had enough is enough. Reached out to us for our career coaching program, joined, and on that very first call, very nervous, crying, very upset, and just not in her power at all. I had to like sidestep our normal kickoff slash welcome call a little bit just to
Mm,
get her nervous system calmed down just a
yeah.
little bit.
Hmm.
So I do that sometimes depending on the client's needs. I always do a follow-up to cover the things we didn't get to cover so they don't miss anything, but sometimes it's better to get them calmer into what is really going on so we
Yeah.
could strategize and get a plan. And without
Hmm.
getting into too much about her, because we are confidential, um, we got a plan. She took a leave from work and she dove right in. I mean, the flip side of that is once she was able to take a FMLA leave, she was ready and she
Hmm.
charged right in. So great
She
to
did.
see.
She did.
Um, Jumped in the modules, showed up for coaching, was totally coachable. And I'm happy to say, I think she's 6 weeks into our 12-week program, and she has an offer for 50 plus $1,000 more than she's making, plus a $10,000 sign on bonus.
And
And she
go ahead.
hasn't fully accepted that yet because she has other interviews she's still doing. She got that company to agree to wait 2 or 3 more weeks so she
Right.
can continue interviewing. And that company, credit to them, they've been staying in touch with her, having people call her, seeing what her concerns are. So they
Hmm.
are rolling out the red carpet. But
Yes.
she wants to see what these other companies are offering. Two of them have already come in with less than this. So she's already leaning. But there's one final company that she actually envisioned herself working at before she joined our group.
Yeah.
And boom, she gets that interview. It's not till next week, but fantastic results with her. But she has leaned in herself, totally transformed, comes on the
Mhm.
calls, smiling, doing the work, progressing ahead. And she said her life has 100% changed. She could not believe the results. And she said she is never going back to who she was.
She's happier than she's been in decades. Decades.
Yeah.
And I know you and I have been sharing some of the coaching with her, as well as our resume coach and our LinkedIn coach. We've been primarily helping her navigate some of the trickiness of her current role. And you've been interview prepping and interview coaching her like spectacularly. Folks, sometimes we give exact things to say in the exact questions for interviews. And then we practice and we role play. Now, this woman, when she first went on FMLA to relieve some of the stress of her current toxic situation, wasn't really that strong about talking about herself.
Mhm, mhm.
Needed a lot of soul power to come up to inform her voice and to really come alive at that core level, that soul level, that life force energy. And now she's bona fide enthusiastic about life. And while she's interviewing, she's sticking in a girls' trip
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, fun. Yeah.
to enjoy life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's living it.
Yeah,
There's no doubt. She
yeah,
showed up, did the work,
yeah,
100% coachable. Like you said, she coached with all of our coaches, LinkedIn, resume, mindset. Coach Portia does a lot of mindset work too.
yes.
You dipping into the soul, helping her
Mhm.
with her trauma, and me just keeping her strategically focused on what she needs to do next. So, you know, the combination of everything we delivered totally
Right.
worked for her.
Yeah. And folks, just to be clear, this all starts with a clarity call. So mofall.com/talk is how you can book your clarity call. You're going to talk to one of our coaches and we're going to go through a diagnostic workup. I'm an ex-nurse, ex-healthcare executive. We go through a diagnostic workup. We do like your career MRI. And if we can help you, if we have certainty of being able to solve your problem and take you somewhere else, somewhere where you likely haven't been. We'll talk in more detail about our coaching. And here's another example of a woman who I actually did her clarity call on this other client, as you know, Stacey. And she is so underpaid for what she does for a living. I couldn't believe that she would stay in her current company, but she's an immigrant woman, and there's a lot of loyalty, and I don't think I can really compete in another place or at another company the way I know my ground here. A lot of immigrant women find themselves sort of tucking into the safety zone, even though they're underpaid, underemployed, underutilized, under everything. And when I was having the clarity call with this particular woman, I could tell how smart she was. I could tell how valuable she was to her company. And I literally said to her, do you know the difference between how much you're making and how much you could make somewhere else? She said, I do. I said, well, then why are you still there? And she said, I'm not sure how to make the move. I'm not sure how to say the right things. I don't know how to position myself at that level. So she joined our Soul Powered workshop and she got to work with us. And she's got a darling little girl. And she and her husband and little girl like going to Disney and having fun there. And she sort of calls herself a princess. And so she's a very feminine woman, a very smart IT professional. And tell me and tell us and share with us, Stacey, on what her trajectory has been with us in our Soul Powered career coaching.
Yeah, yeah. So, just for the record, this is a different woman than we were just
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about. Very
Yes.
different personality. And
Yep.
I'm going to add to everything you just said. She had her own programming. She was brought up in a different
Right.
culture.
Yes.
And she had to, another reason she wasn't looking outside is because she was raised to not question the status quo
Or authority.
and to be happy with what she has.
Yes.
So that was the other piece with
Mm-hmm.
her.
Yeah.
Even though she knew
Mm-hmm.
she was bigger than what she was doing.
Yeah.
But again, she's someone who jumped in, started doing the work,
She
coming on
did.
coaching call, doing the modules. I mean,
Yep.
one after the other,
Yeah.
showing up, not
Mm-hmm.
nonstop doing the work.
Yep.
Um, and in my very first call with her, I said, well, why haven't you asked for a raise?
Right.
And dead silence. And she said, I just wouldn't know the words.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know what to say. I don't have confidence. So she knew that's how smart she was. She knew exactly what she was lacking.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
and we
She did.
went to work and
Yes.
we did coaching and I role played.
Mm-hmm.
I played her, I played her boss. I played
Mm-hmm.
her, I played her boss. I gave her the words.
Yes.
And we had to practice because she has to get comfortable. It
Mm-hmm.
is not one and done, even with the last client we just talked about. This
Mm-hmm.
is not one and done.
Yeah.
This is doing the work that you need to do to be able to stand in your power, to be able to articulate your worth. And frankly, I needed some questions answered about the dynamic and the boss and the relationship to
Right.
help her
Yeah.
able to maneuver this. And this
Mm-hmm.
is a maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Make no mistake about this.
Yeah.
This had to be maneuvered. We had to be strategic. We had to have meeting one with the boss. I even went as far as to say to her, you're going to say this, and this is what he's going to
He's gonna
say
say.
back. And then you're going to say this and this.
Yeah.
And she messaged me after saying, exactly what you
Right.
said he's going to say is what he said.
Right.
Why is that? It's because I get the psyche of these, frankly, these men.
Yeah.
I was been in this world a very long time and
Right.
had to work with men almost my whole career.
Yep.
So you get to know, and I was able to help her. And I'm happy to say she got a $30,000 increase and a bigger title,
Yep.
and they're hiring more people under her.
Yep. And it starts with her reminding, and we call it tooting your own horn, her reminding her boss the value in what she has done. Not that he doesn't know, but there is something that human beings have called the recency effect. We only really remember what is like the most recent thing. What have you done for me lately? And I also want to put this out there for those of you who don't know myself or Coach Stacey. We both were in the C-suite. We both know what it takes to climb the ladder, to show our worth, to articulate our value, to be great communicators, to influence others at the board level, with our teams, at the frontline level. There is so much experience that we bring to the table. We're not guessing that something that we coach one of our clients on is going to work. We're not, oh boy, I hope that works. I don't know. Let me read the manual of coaching to see if that's something that we should tell her. We are coming from legitimate, absolute decades and decades of experience. So the mistakes or the trials and tribulations that we've had to bring the successes that we've had, our clients get the benefit of compressing time. Now, with all due respect, Stacey made less mistakes in her career than me.
Mm.
So you come with very stable executive experience, Stacey. You navigated your way in organizations, higher up in organizations in a very effective way. My career was more moving to another organization to get that job move and that up level and that increase in pay, which worked out well for me. But along the way, a couple of trips and a couple of downsizing or position eliminations, which I think in some ways are both of our experiences combined. Like we've been everywhere: mergers, acquisitions, takeovers, downsizings. Remember when we had worked together and we had to lay off, I think it was like 50 people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, remember it well. There are
And
defining moments in your career that you remember for the
forever.
rest. Yes, it just is. That was one of them.
Yes.
First time I had to do a major layoff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had to stage it, and we had HR and the tech people, and had to have all of these things coordinated. We didn't enjoy it.
At No, at the same time, I was just going to say, is it not being fun, the
Yeah.
feeling in your stomach, you're
Right.
feeling terrible about it. These are people
Mm-hmm.
you've worked with, yet
Right.
you're getting a mandate from above that
Yeah.
you have to make cuts.
Yep.
Um, and it's never easy and it's never good, but sometimes things have to be done, right?
And
And
yeah, it gives us the,
it's being equipped
yeah,
in your career for if that happens to you, what's next? And a lot of that is confidence in yourself. And being
it's
laid off,
everything.
you
It's
lose your
everything.
confidence. Being
Absolutely.
pushed down in your job, you lose your confidence. Not being promoted,
Being
you
told
lose
you're
your
not promotional
confidence.
material.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, these are just blows one after the other, and they
yes,
stick with you.
they do. I was
But
passed
through
over for
coaching,
promotions.
yes, I know. But through coaching, we're able to help women be able to tap into themselves and have them react less to that.
Right. You know,
Because
we've handled, not only in our careers, almost every opportunity for a success or failure, and we've succeeded many, many more times than failed at these things. We've now, over the past 10 years, coached women on almost every possible thing that could come along the pike. And I'm also very proud of our clients who are in our executive circle, because each one of them over the last 6 months have gone through some iteration of job loss, job upgrade, having to lay off people, being laid off. And most recently, one of our gals was one of the federal employee issues. And this woman is a very accomplished executive. And
extremely.
her entire industry was basically eliminated.
Mhm.
And we're helping her, and I'll give you all the credit for it, helping her really get creative on pivoting and also maintaining her sense of self and her sense of what she brings to the table, her value, so that she can investigate other opportunities and do things. And she has become a bit of a thought leader on LinkedIn over some things.
Yeah. Yeah. She's great. And give credit where credit is due. She's awesome. She's
Yes.
been doing her
Yes.
own internal work
For
with us for
for
how many
it's
years?
almost been
Five,
5.
six
Yeah, it
years?
was
Yeah.
during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So she has tremendous inner self work.
Yes.
That's the point of this. She is a tremendous person, super smart, executive level in an industry that was just decimated, decimated. And if she didn't have her own the tools that she got here and her inner guidance
Yeah.
to even keep herself together, to now understand her whole career path has now shifted
Hmm.
and just getting into it straight on,
Yeah.
straight on. No,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and you using the tools, continuing to go back to tools.
Right.
That's part of it.
Big thing. You
Yeah.
know,
So I recently I heard another client recently um, who didn't get promoted, but the people under her are being promoted to the same level
oh yeah.
title as her. And another maneuver. Like,
Yeah.
so there's so much going on that I'm going to say women because we
That's
coach
who we
women.
work with, right?
Right,
Exactly.
right. So much to maneuver. There's no way this could be done on your own with this many challenges and problems.
And we're
It-
working with mid-career women who have the education, expertise, and experience to advance. And if
yes.
they're in an organization that has already pigeonholed them, already
Hmm.
made their distinction on whether this woman is next level material. And sometimes next level material means you really legitimately don't have the experience that they need in that level role. But it doesn't mean you should be completely discounted and passed over, and then people underneath you getting the same title as you and all sorts of other things. That is an absolute footprint for, you better be careful that you don't lose your job here, because this is how people are pushed out of organizations.
Yeah.
They become
Yeah.
irrelevant. And I'm a little bit nervous about this particular woman that you're talking about. And we have had women in our workshop who have lost their job in the workshop because they saw what was going on and they proactively got the coaching, and then we were able to help them navigate.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
clients we had last year reached out. Actually, she was on our panel this past week, our women's history panel that we had, and she had a fantastic result in our workshop. Also, she's a CFO, and she talked about this on the interview we had. So I'm not talking out of school and divulging something that she didn't already share. But she was a singer younger in her life. And
Hmm.
when her mom died, she had basically stopped singing. It was sort of like a shutdown of her voice, and her career struggled for those years. And she recently, because she's been doing the inner work, she's been doing the meditation, she's been coming to her own, she's been enjoying her new job at her new salary, closer to home, all of that. She had another revelation about a failure that she actually had as a young girl, not pursuing something. And she had forgotten all about that. And she was able to reconcile with her past self that failure and that mistake. And she shared that that was part of her, the chipping away of her confidence. Ultimately, she was still feeling subconsciously letting herself down and failing herself. And so when you start playing higher in your career and you have these things that haunt you, even if your memory doesn't remind you, it's in yourself, it's in your soul, it's in your energy being, it's in your deeper memories, and it creeps in and haunts you, and you don't even know, why do I really not have the confidence I need to have? What's really stopping me? It sometimes takes layers to get to it. And that's one of the cool things about these two clients we spoke about earlier. They dove
Hmm.
into peeling back the layers and getting into the core being of their souls and really lifting themselves up quite quickly and quite effectively with our coaching. And that's our whole methodology is we help you open your soul, and that life force energy just flows back in, so that by the time we're talking about your career achievements and building your resume, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, now I can feel congruent with being awesome. And then when you put the LinkedIn, and you know this, Stacey, a lot of women we work with, when their LinkedIn gets shinier and better, they get a little shy going, oh, that looks pretty good. That's exactly who I am. And having them resonate and an alignment and authenticity with it is really some of the work that we continue to do, because then once they get into the interview process and you help them word for word what to say and how to interview, and you do the reps with them and the practice, they're now completely congruent and aligned, which is why they land these great jobs, get the promotion, get the extra money, get the title. And it's really wonderful to see these women shining.
Yeah, it really is. And the woman you just mentioned with the voice,
Yeah,
she jumped in right away too.
she did.
Like, yeah, there's a recurring theme: do the work, get
Yes.
coached. And there's one particular, and I know you created all our modules, if you will. I tell people that all the time on the kickoff call. There's one particular one that helps them deal with their past and almost forgiving their past. And
Yeah.
that, I'm not going to really dive into this a lot, because the way you set the modules up, they're in order, and
Right.
you get there when you're ready to get there.
Exactly.
So I don't want to go too much in that, but that, when she, the person with the voice, hit that, was she blown? And she, like we just talked about interview prep, it's not one
Right.
and done. You come back, you come back.
Yeah, exactly.
That same, I'm going to use trauma work
Yep.
to label it as something,
Mm-hmm.
um, is done and it done.
Mm-hmm.
And when that feeling state happens to them, and it's open, they get it, it's really life changing.
Yeah.
Life changing.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
it's wonderful to see.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had a fantastic week.
We did.
We
Great
got some
week.
great results. I have
Great.
another client who is, working the same with her. She doesn't want to leave her company. She actually likes her company,
Yep.
but she hasn't had a raise in 4 years. So the last 2 weeks we've been working and positioning wording, and
Yep.
she's having her meeting with her boss today. So can't wait to hear the outcome of that.
Yeah, me too. And we hear back from clients all the time after they've graduated, when they continue to have their annual reviews, when they continue to have ongoing successes, relationships with bosses that have never gone well are going well. They are thriving, and they get to use the tools over and over again. And it's just, nothing's better than creating an entire force of soul-powered women who are in every industry possible, every city across the country, and they are soul-powered and lighting up the world in their own way. And I dare say, Stacey, all of the trials and tribulations I've personally had in my career make it feel worth it, that we can help these women advance. And you had a spectacular career. And we're at that point now in our careers where helping other women achieve and helping show them how to do it, so that they don't have some of the trials and tribulations that I had. Like I said earlier, Stacey had less than me. Stacey's career was quite brilliant most of the way through. You went through some boss leaving, therefore you were fingered as the person who also needed to go.
Yeah.
And these things happen along the way. If you're in the professional workforce, ladies, you're going to get punched in the face. It's part of the sport. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's also a matter of, do you have the tools to handle it? Do you have the tools to bounce back more quickly than leaving too much time to erode how you feel about yourself and what you believe to be true? We want to help you believe it's true, that you have greater value, greater worth, and that the kick out or the punch in the face was your exact trigger, instigator to do the inner work to get better sense of self. Stacey, thank you so much for joining me. Not only joining me on this podcast, but also being an absolutely world-class coach for our clients and being a great team member and collaborator on all that we do in Soul Powered Careers. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to this edition of Soul Powered Revolution. We are on a revolution to help more women be soul powered and absolutely kick-ass warriors in the world. Mofall.com/talk gets you the beginning of the point, which is the clarity call. Thanks again, Stacey, and everyone. We'll see you on the other side.
Have a great day.
Everything that women face in the corporate world, in life actually, can be counterattacked, counteropposed by a woman's powerful internal sense of being. And I call that your soul power. I want to help more women understand their soul power, and I want to create a soul-powered revolution. This is Coach Mo, Mofall.com.